I give thanks for this blessing and opportunity that I will use it for the greater good. All right, welcome, my survivors of the journey, to this podcast that aims to inspire and motivate that you continue to have joy, peace of mind, and to your success. Thank you again. Let's go ahead and get started with the show topic. The show topic for today's episode will be one of my very popular motivational quotes. I believe you got it in you. I believe to continue to do what's needed to survive, to live. Now you got to keep believing to know it too. So to your joy and to your success. The other topic is repeating what I mentioned I will discuss in this episode 3 for season 1, coming from my previous episode 2, where I will start a segment called Your Task to Dusk to Dawn, which is basically advice and strategy. Okay, and so I got something for you doing that segment. So let's get started. For today's topic, motivational quote that I really love: I believe you got it in you to continue to do what's needed. So basically, I believe you got it in you comes from the knowing that what we think we know about ourselves, especially when we feel that it's bad or it's negative or we don't feel good about it, let me put it that way, we start believing that we don't got it to do what's needed to be done to reach the successful outcome. So we get discouraged. And again, as I like to call him, Mr. Fear, sometimes Mrs. Fear, I guess we could say Miss or Mr. Fear, that is waiting for that opportunity to feed off of it. I mean, say what you want, but at the end of the day, it's the physical plane and the spiritual plane. And so what I like to teach, especially when I'm teaching about motivational, uplifting, and inspiration, is to focus on that and to teach people that it does matter, that it's very important in order for you to survive your journey in this life. And you have to appreciate the gift that was given to you, which is life. Now, on this journey of life, we'll consistently be challenged, but over time, and I have often said on my social media, time will be your best friend. It never lies to you. It never holds things back. It gives and it gives, and it shows you either need to take some time to focus on this, take some time to get some rest and get back up again and start again. Take some time to reflect and feed your soul that's yearning for the spiritual, because you have to remember, you have to feed the spiritual as well as your physical, or you will not create that balance. And some people that know about my other creative projects, in particular the Mole, which is dealing with ancient Egypt, there in that school of thought, they always talked about the balance of life. And it's so true today. Even in law, you have that scale of making sure that everything is in balance. That's what you have to realize. That's what you have to acknowledge and implement. So when you're not thinking on a positive way about yourself, you will not believe in yourself. I'm here to say in today's topic for this episode is that I believe, Nichel believe, you got it in you to do it. I'm a survivor myself. And it was a time that I did not believe that I had it in me to get it done. And sure enough, for some reason in me, I just kept saying, you know what, I'm just going to try it anyway. And it was sometimes where I did not try it. I took too long. I procrastinated. I never did it too long, but I did it enough that something happened in my life, that said to me, no, just do it anyway. And I just like waking up with a whole new awareness. And then I had certain kings and queens, and I like to do a segment on the kings and queens that we had in our lives that gave us good wisdom, that gave us an example, For most people, you do not get that many in your life. And the few that you get, you got to cherish it like the gemstone that they are. And they showed me that I did. Out the blue, they would just say something that would motivate me to start thinking that I got it in me to do it. I don't see it yet, but it will happen. So the main point of this topic today about I believe you got it in you is that while on the journey, the situations that comes up, questioning our life's purpose can get cloudy due to the difficult situations we encounter. So number one, how can you move forward and believe in yourself? And number two, and why is it important? Okay, so the first thing is, how can you move forward and believe in yourself? It centers around our self-esteem. Believe it or not, that is like the little delicate baby that is inside of us. That no matter how old that you get, that self-esteem is core. It needs a refueling, or it needs to be fed. Just like fear feeds off of something, your self-esteem needs to be fed. And I might do a separate segment just on self-esteem and how you got to relook at it in a new and different important way to help you sustain your journey. So when I say refueling the self-esteem, that is identifying things that are draining your ability to think in a healthy capacity. Because let's get this straight. It is a healthy capacity how you can feed yourself, and it is an unhealthy capacity that you can start feeding your self-esteem. Just like with food, which is physical, I'm talking about the spiritual plane, because you could do whatever you want to do on the physical plane and everything looks good for a while, but if your spiritual self is not in balance, and I'm not saying this belief or that belief, I'm not getting into that. That's for somebody else. They have a lifetime career that focuses on that to bring you into their tent. That's not my job here. I feel like my purpose is to break it down to you in the way that, look, this is what it is. you know Everyone has to make a choice. I'm here to try to motivate you to make the right choice, you know and you will see that. So how can you move forward to start believing in yourself? Deals with your effort to accept the level of your self-esteem. When I was growing up, please, self-esteem, like I said, one day I would tell my story, but it centers around everything else and how you perceive yourself with the outside world. So let's start with some ways that you can identify self esteem and how you can change it when you have identified that your self esteem is right now in an unhealthy capacity of how it views itself, how it views your worth, which is critical because if it's unhealthy of how you view it, that means everything can come through to try to continue to tear you down. That's why no matter how it looks on the outside, you got this and you got that on the physical plane, emotionally, you have emotional pain that you can't seem to get rid of it. So let's try to start to identify it, identify ways that are productive. All right, let's take a quick music break. We will be right back. Welcome back. Let's return to the discussion of this podcast. For example, you need to start listing what you are great at, your talent, which is your purpose. Okay? You should be consistent in thought patterns that ends up not believing you have what it takes to get it done to create the the outcome that you desire. One time, to just kind of share with you, one time I remember someone telling me that she constantly felt, not really, in that groove, meaning that she was doing something that she enjoys. And that's one thing about purpose. Your purpose will bring you joy. And that's what I constantly want to emphasize to people, and what I talk about on my social media platform is that having joy is a gift. And so your purpose is tied into that. So she was telling me that she just felt that, she's just going about her day, but not really enjoying life because she just feels she see other people doing their thing. She had not at the time, discovered hers. So I just told her to write down, take some time to step away from your job, from your busy life. It could be 10 minutes, it could be, you know, hopefully longer than 5 minutes because our mind is cluttered with so many things going on. And it takes a while to practice and stop thinking about this and that, and then giving yourself the opportunity to focus on your needs. Okay. And so by just encouraging her to take some time, like a couple hours a day, to write out everything that she enjoys, that she likes, and to look at the patterns to see where people gave her feedback that they really enjoyed it or they really liked what she did. And so by writing out what she likes or enjoys, plus also identifying the important patterns of life that keeps popping up where it ties back to something that she's doing that she's good at. It took a while, but when I did talk to her later on, she finally was able to stop that clutter in her mind, or I should say, stop the mind clutter. And she was able to identify her talent that led to her purpose. Now, of course, the journey begins from that point and manifesting it more bigger and bolder in her life that she could do it for a time, but it can happen. So perhaps maybe why you feel that you don't believe in yourself or you have those moments that come up is that not only you still on that journey of that path where you're trying to find your way to your purpose, you're second guessing, you're not really sure, you haven't really experienced the constant supportive nature of a team that's in it with you to rent it and gave you those indicators that this is it. You probably stopped it and thought that, well, I just don't think it's going to work. And actually it was the right path. So taking a moment, I would say 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes a day, just write anything that comes to your mind. And when you get to the point, when your life is so busy and it's hard to stop that clutter about other things and you're trying to focus on what I'm bringing to you to focus on. Just write is another trick is to write what you're thinking. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to, be over here, I have to write this. Just make a list to get all of that out. That's a quick, effective way. And then do what I'm asking you is to take that moment to just focus on you. And that moment, I really mean, at least 10 minutes or 20 minutes. If you can do 30 minutes, that's great. You want to get everything out that you're good at or what somebody actually, gave you feedback that they enjoyed it, that's, they just feel happy and joyful. Because if they feel joyful in what you can do, that means you can feel joyful as well. It's like a circle. It's a circle of life. That's another element, the circle of life, that I say a lot on my platform when I'm talking to people. The next point is, why is it important to believe in yourself? We must be aware that when we do not believe in ourselves, this allows, or should I say, opens up the gateway for others to start imposing their perceptions about you. I'm going to repeat that because that's deep and you need to really get this. Because why is it important to believe in yourself? We must be aware that when we do not believe in ourselves, this allows an opportunity, opens up the gateway for others that's not in your best interest to start imposing their perceptions about you, which most of the time is not true, is negative, and they're on that path of your journey to discourage you so you won't do it. You know what? I had just recently realized that when I look back of where I have been, that certain people came in my life just to waste my time. just to convince me that, look how long it's been. You're not going to do it. Why bother? Just go by day. Those same people that said those things to me, fast forward when I actually accomplished it, is copying me and doing it. Or doing something that they knew they should have did 10 years ago. I don't know. The point is that you open up the gateway that people will feel that you don't really believe in yourself, that you can do it. They can feel your self-esteem or how you view it in a way that they can come and milk it for all it's worth. Because believe it or not, sometimes people feel like it's a ladder to success. And if they knock you down, then they can get above you. Or if they can knock you down and you don't move nowhere, they don't move anywhere, then it's fine. When you start to move up, you shake some feathers. You shouldn't have to do that. It's just the way the world works. And we have people like that. And so when you shake the feathers, you're actually creating a reaction. You know, I really do feel like whatever action creates a reaction. We want to hope that it's positive. We want to hope that we can flip it and we'll make it positive. That is not how life works. And so some people will react in a negative way by holding you back and feeding off that. Some of the examples I can say is, for example, number one, their insecurities are dominantly imposed on you. So you'll hear things like, you can't do that. Why try if you failed before? That's a waste of money and time. Where you need to wait and just leave it be. Why go through all of that when you got this right here? Why change your game? If it's not working all the way, well, just accept what it can do. The other thing is the importance in knowing you can deal with things that happen in your life proves your ability to be able to work through it and make something out of nothing sometimes. And that builds your self-esteem and that builds your belief. So you can get to the platform, and hear me on this, to know you can do it. All right. I often say, again, when I'm talking to people, is that you have to believe to know that you can do it. You want to stop the procrastination in all of its many forms and expressions, or a person that needs a team surrounding you, or a person that is dependent on certain people that only brings them negativity. First have to work on yourself before you can be a part of a team. What you bring into the table, you know? Some people just want you a part of their clique and their team just to feed off that. But then you can't ruffle no feathers. You can't try to aspire and do anything else. That's not really a team. It's just like what you said, that's a clique. You know, just like paper sticking together for a moment. It's not nothing solid. You want a solid team. And that helps you to identify your strength in believing in yourself and identifying those that are just in that gateway of that opportunity to impose their perceptions on you. So finally, when you believe in yourself, you automatically you build up a steel wall of exterior, and immediately you readjust your thinking from a maybe a low worth, oh, who we kidding, a low worth to a higher worth. Let's just keep it real. And when you start doing that, you are able to respond in a more direct, confident way. And when you're doing all of this, guess what? Your joy is off the charts, okay? You are able to be more alive, more engaged in life when you believe in yourself. You change the way that you view yourself. And so, therefore, no one can come to you through that gateway and try. Well, at that point, they're knocking on the door trying to get in. But at the end of the day, you're able to readjust the way you see yourself. Because if you don't see yourself in a positive light, other people pick up on that. When you don't believe in yourself and you think life is not worth it, there are people that can pick up on that. And they feed off that. And instead of them nurturing, giving you a hand and helping you, they take complete advantage of you and they feed off that and keep digging a hole. You're digging a hole, they digging a hole 3 or 5 times bigger than yours to go ahead and push you right on in there. You step out of that thinking. You step out of that trench. You get back on the path of your destiny and you keep moving. All right, let's take a quick music break. We will be right back. Welcome back. Let's return to the discussion of this podcast. So, in that, it teaches you the balance of life. And let me just say this, I am not talking about self worship. That's wrong. Remember, everything has to be in balance. But just like a flower needs water and it definitely needs the sun. Anybody know what I always symbolize with with my logo or with my message is the sunflower because it always faces the sun. The sun is the most powerful element in our lives, right? So a flower always need that nurturing so it can grow and give back out, you know, to the outside world to complete the circle of life, right? So I'm not teaching about worshiping yourself and that you all this, that, and this. It's not about that because I also teach about purpose. Purpose is really what you do for others. You just enjoying the process. Of course, you want to feel just like any team, if you're playing on a basketball team or whatever type of sports team, and you made that effort either to kick the ball a certain way or throw the ball this way or whatever the game at the end of the day and you're part of a team, you were the one to do that last point to really allow the team to win. Great to feel congratulated and you pat yourself on the back and everybody's so happy for you. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, that's great. I'm not talking about that because you need that. It's nourishment. I'm talking about to be so worship of self that you lose the whole focus on purpose. But I think that's a more clearer way. You break the circle of life because it's only about the self. And that's only the physical. The circle of life goes into the spiritual. So it has to be a balance of that. If not, it will only lead to your insanity because you're constantly trying to feed the self where you have everybody else with the power of their own free will of choice. I'm going to repeat that. Without balance, it will only lead you to your insanity because you're trying to feed the physical when everybody else has the same power as you, meaning their free will to choose if they wish to partake in that activity, whereas constantly self worship. And we have to be careful of that in today's world. And so I'm here just to motivate you to see the available choices out there and to encourage you and motivate you and to help you to identify the tools that you have to, soar. But you don't want to get into that worship of self. Okay? It's complete imbalance and it will lead to your insanity. But that's a whole different type of show there. And let's just do a final recap of what talked about today. So your takeaway pretty much I can say is number 1, you be the process required that reinforces your belief in your ability to get it done. To do things that that is needed, but to also be aware that it takes time. So don't get discouraged and feel, well, I guess I can't do it because it's been this long or this long. My Mole project currently I started it over 20 years ago. I don't regret none of that because it perfected my craft. When technology changed, I changed with it and it helped me. So think of, I believe in my last episode, I mentioned fine wine. That's what it is. It takes time to get the best. All right. So don't let the lack of convince you that you don't got it in you to get it done. I'm going to repeat that. Don't let the lack of something that you think you need convince you that you don't got it in you to get it done. You could do it. The other thing is, the second point is learn to pave a way towards your purpose. That's your talent that is infused with some type of substance, meaning that you want to make sure that the purpose you think that it is, that it completes the circle of life, that you're giving something out, and then doing that process is going to come right back to you in something good. That is your golden river. River constantly flows. That's what you should do, you know, in your pursuit to not only find your purpose but to perfect it, and that you can see that it's doing, the greater good. It's doing something good for someone else. And it's like a wheel, not something that's one-sided. It's something that's going to come right back in a different way. And this can be by being, actively in who you are and how you view yourself. Because if you take care of yourself and you're happy about yourself, then you would do the same for someone else. You'll be happy for someone else. You're more willing to help others in a different way. Everybody that express themselves at the end of the day with the same mission in mind, it doesn't matter how they did it or how they got there in the sense. Somehow, some way, they made the right choices on the path to get to where they need to be to influence someone else. It could be from being, I don't know, a doctor or someone that, started a baking business. It doesn't matter with that. The main takeaway with that is to learn to pave your way towards your purpose by having the patience to know that what you're doing matters to somebody else, and that completes the circle of life. The last point is to see the process as a journey with all its curves and valleys and trenches, mountains, that is in position to teach you, not really to have you sit and not really to have you second doubt, but to teach you that you not only can do it, but it's all a part of the flavor of your journey. Just like cooking, you put this in, you put a little bit of that, you put a little bit of that. It got its lumps and bumps and all of that, and goes into your success. If you think about it, the greatest speakers, when they talk, are the ones that talked about the failures to make their speech so rich, so engaging. Your failures are only pit stops on your journey. Not a pause, not no, you just not the one. Because as I said in my last point, you're paving your way. Sometimes, in the beginning, I thought I should be doing this, and then I thought I should be doing that, and then I did notice that it was a pattern that kept coming up, either through people or circumstances, that always led back a talent that I was blessed with. The same thing with you, but I experienced failures, but in that I learned from them, and so should you. And then you should learn not to second guess yourself or not to stop thinking that you don't got it in you to get it done. So here we are focusing now on my next segment, which I really like the title in itself. It's your task to dusk of dawn. So my recommendation for you for this episode 3 for season 1 is to create one sentence that you are proud about that you did. Just create one sentence that you're proud of about yourself. If you don't have one, then use my golden one, which is, I am still here, alive, living. I am somebody of worth. Okay? I love that statement because at the end of the day, no one can take that away from you. Okay? The next one point that I want to say regarding your task to dusk of dawn is my recommendation that you read your self-empowerment statement every 3 times a day. Surround yourself with positive people or limit your exposure with naysayers. Plus, listening calming music. The more, I wouldn't say like Dr. Office type music, but Anything, something that deals with water is always good because water is powerful. And I might do like a short segment about that. Listen to something that has some type of water element, almost like you go into a spa. And if you can't do that, then just do something that pleases you and soothes your spirit. And always focus on tomorrow because tomorrow is a brand new day. Okay? Whatever didn't get done today, whatever that really did not get done yesterday, because you can't change yesterday, tomorrow. So you gotta hold on. You can't give up. You gotta say, I'm in it to win it. You gotta say, I believe in myself that I can do it. It might not happen today. It didn't happen yesterday, but tomorrow is a brand new day. And I hope you saying this with me. Tomorrow is a brand new day to do something new and fresh, which is a good thing. You stay positive on the journey. And just to recap, today's was about I believe you got it in you to continue to do what's needed to survive, to live. Now you got to keep believing to know it too, to your joy. So let's just cover some things right quick before we wrap up today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast and share as well. And you can reach my podcast at my podcast site on Podbean. That's Nichel Anderson, the number 7.podbean.com. And of course, Nichel is spelled with the N. Nichel Anderson, the number 7 dot podbean, podbean.com. And on iTunes, you can download straight from my podcast homepage, as well on Podbeam, or just directly from iTunes at the Apple Store. Okay, please follow me also on social media. My official social media accounts are Twitter, so it's twitter.com/Nichel Anderson. Also on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/Nichel Anderson fan page. And of course, my official website where I do courses you can sign up for. They're business related. They also personal development too, that you can check out. And that website address is nichelanderson.com. And sometimes I do free webinars, but check out my website on that. Also, I do have a book which is called Corporate America: Surviving Your Journey Toward Success. You can go to Amazon to get that one. And I mentioned Mole about a couple of times in this segment. And of course, that's a memoir about Egypt, and you can find that book at Amazon as well. So this show notes will be provided for you to get any links or any other information that I mentioned on the show notes on my podcast homepage or my official website. All right, so just to kind of recap on my show, I broadcast every Monday by 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Also, if you're interested in being a guest speaker, go ahead and you can click on the guest application form right on my Podbean, right on my podcast site, either on my official website or Podbean site, which is nichelanderson7.podbean.com or nichelanderson.com. Okay, you'll see podcast at the top and you'll click that if you own my official website. Now, if you have any questions, or like I said, if you want to be a guest speaker and you got some questions before you fill out this short, it's really quick Google form, then you can email me at info@nichelanderson.com, or you can direct message me on Twitter or Facebook. All right, I'm also on Skype, and my ID on Skype is nichel.anderson. So you can send me an invite. We can connect there. So in closing with my brand statement, let me just go ahead and say this, which I really love this statement. But here's my closing statement. Be you that strengthens and inspires your ability to be strong in your journey. It's a good thing towards your mental peace and joy, always to your success.